very warm welcome to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and investors. Welcome from the beautiful island paradise, Sri Lanka, the pearl of the Indian Ocean, and welcome to the Sri Lanka Investment Forum 2021, the first and the largest virtual investment forum in Asia. We are privileged to have you tuned in, and we hope that over the next 3 days, this forum will provide you valuable insights on Sri Lanka and its potential as the top destination for investment. The Investment Forum is jointly organized by the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, and the Colombo Stock Exchange. This forum will be inaugurated shortly by His Excellency the President of our Republic himself. And the inauguration session will feature the State Minister in charge of the portfolio of money and capital markets, the Honorable Nivad Cabral. But first, to introduce the forum to you and welcome you formally, I am delighted to present the Chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Hans Vijaysurya.
Your Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa, President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Ministers and officials of the Government of Sri Lanka, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, honored delegates to the Sri Lanka Investment Forum from 65 countries across 5 continents, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning and Ayubowan. On behalf of the co-chairs of the Sri Lanka Investment Forum, Sanjay Mohattala, Chairman of the Board of Investment, and Dumit Fernando, Chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange, their respective institutions, and the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, it is a distinct honor and privilege to welcome you all to the Sri Lanka Investment Forum 2021. Invest Sri Lanka is both a proposition of partnership from an investment destination enriched with innate potential and opportunity, as well as an invitation from the people of a nation known for its deep-rooted culture of hospitality. The opportunity that Sri Lanka presents, I believe, is beyond debate. A comparison of potential versus baseline at sectoral and national level, as well as the breadth and depth of innate and undercapitalized resources, point to the potential for rapid growth. To cite a few growth levers, an underexploited tourism proposition, uniquely located deep sea ports, knowledge-rich human capital, world-class ICT ecosystems, excellence in apparel manufacture, and natural products, crops, and minerals, which are unique to the pearl of the Indian Ocean. The conversation then is one which centers on whether Sri Lanka possesses the underlying policy frameworks, enabling environments, consistent policy execution, and macro-environmental fundamentals in order to facilitate the transformation of undisputed opportunity and potential into real growth. SLIF 2021 has been designed to engender just this conversation. And to answer these questions, the forum brings together a wide spectrum of policymakers, economists, and bankers, development planners, facilitation agencies, and industry leaders to provide deep insight into the fundamentals which underlie the Invest Sri Lanka proposition. Growth potential, de-risked by a consistent policy framework and enriched through an investment facilitation ecosystem, provides fertile ground for capital formation. Indeed, when growth capital combines with innate and underexploited potential, the result is a new nucleus of growth. This is a formula which has triggered successive growth havens across Asia over the past 5 decades. As the Asian growth wave continues to build momentum, we are confident that Sri Lanka, uniquely located as the gateway to South Asia, will indeed be Asia's next growth haven. The forum will build the Invest Sri Lanka dialogue from the foundation of the country's policy framework and macroeconomic backdrop. Sri Lanka envisions a doubling of its economy over the next decade and has felt a clear commitment to growth through its investment and tax policies. In focus then will be the management and expansion of the fiscal space and the calibration of growth versus debt, alongside deficits management, importantly, through a confluence of domestic productivity initiatives and external sector policies. The external sector is pivotal to the calibrated growth formula. The forum will illuminate the primary instruments of foreign investment policies, trade policies, and export facilitation frameworks. Provision for 100% foreign ownership is nothing new, nor an exception in Sri Lanka. The repatriation experience of foreign investors has been likewise unblemished, as has been the honouring of the 25 over investment protection agreements to which Sri Lanka is a signatory. The forum will evidence the on-ground experience of long-term foreign investors, as well as new entrants, and also detail the investment facilitation framework enabled by the Board of Investment and other agencies. SLIF will also illuminate the interplay between the foreign investment policies and equally progressive trade and export policy. Sri Lanka's preferential trade agreements have spawned an external market space of over 2.5 billion consumers, and our export development framework facilitates the conversion of preferential access into globally competitive outputs and growth opportunities for investors. Also in focus is investor access. Friction-free direct investment and repatriation constructs have enabled FDI over the past decades. Equally, the Colombo Stock Exchange provides a buoyant platform for portfolio investments and has been consistently rated as one of the best performing capital markets in Asia. Sri Lanka's listed corporates exhibit in accumulation attractive index returns and dividend yields on the backdrop of modest valuations relative to regional peers. The forum will illuminate not only the positives, but also areas where work is in progress at speed. Sri Lanka takes head-on with commitment from the highest levels of government the lagging indicators within the Ease of Doing Business Index. The forum will discuss at ministerial level the government's commitment to fast-track transformation across the spheres of legal system capacities and processes, alternate dispute resolution constructs, broad-based deregulation, institutional reform, and the accelerated digitization of institutional interfaces. Sri Lanka's legal reforms extend beyond process acceleration alone. Mature frameworks encompassing intellectual property, electronic transactions, and cyber laws have been in place for several years, while the establishment of data protection and privacy frameworks to support digital ecosystems of the future are imminent. Sri Lanka is first ranked in the region on the Human Development Index. Child labour has never been a topic on Sri Lanka's manufacturing landscape, and we stand out as an equal opportunity and ethical production destination. We are proud of our uniquely literate citizenry and inclusive education systems, which have led to a knowledge-driven economy with a forecasted tripling of graduate resources and a 2.5x growth in ICT exports by the year 2025. The New World Order indeed is one where digital readiness and maturity is inextricably linked to a nation's competitiveness. Founded on innate excellence in ICT competence, Sri Lanka's digital economy and digital transformation programs are designed to drive domestic efficiencies in parallel with seamless global linkages. The world order is also one which is marred by harsh externalities, both man-made and natural. Investors today seek out resilience and agility, facets well evidenced in Sri Lanka's V-shaped post-COVID recovery with respect to exports and domestic production sectors. Resilience is deep set in Sri Lanka's DNA and is evidenced across public and private sector ecosystems. The resilience of a nation's socio-economy is a subset of the broader topic of sustainability, an edict which is deep-rooted in Sri Lanka's development fabric. A focus on renewable energy, climate change, and a commitment to an organic-centered green socio-economy are embedded in the strategic evolution of energy, manufacturing, and agriculture sectors. The forum will also triangulate the topics of food security, domestic production, and agriculture modernization, accumulating to the optimization of macroeconomic indices in parallel with growth acceleration. A country at the inflection point of its growth gradient will necessarily feature sharp pivots in terms of transformative initiatives. The forum will dialogue on Sri Lanka's Port City Special Economic Zone, innovation in offshore financial services, and the parallel development of multiple deep-sea ports, to mention a few. All mega initiatives which will fuel a sharp uplift in the country's growth gradient. Sri Lanka's broader investment opportunities span a wide spectrum of sectors. The forum will deep dive into tourism, ICT, apparel, pharma, agriculture, and infrastructure development. Sri Lanka's commitment to compete and excel on Asia's investment landscape is indelibly coupled with the vision and commitment of the country's government and leadership. Today, we are singularly honored to have with us His Excellency the President, who will frame the Invest Sri Lanka proposition in the context of his vision for the nation. Commencing with His Excellency the President, the Invest Sri Lanka proposition is collectively espoused by stakeholders who will themselves be the partners, enablers, and importantly, the underwriters of investment and growth going forward. We are grateful for the momentous support and contribution rendered by our ministerial speakers, ambassadors, high commissioners, and their respective missions in Sri Lanka and overseas. The 60 over public and private sector project promoters and 90 over speakers and panelists. Policymakers, regulators, multilateral institutions, listed corporates, the teams from the Board of Investment, Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, and the Colombo Stock Exchange. And finally, and importantly, our strategic partners and sponsors. I make mention of all these pivotal stakeholders, not only to thank them on behalf of the conveners of SLIF 2021, but also to point to the collective passion behind the exposition of the Invest Sri Lanka proposition. I am confident that this collective passion truly represents and embodies Sri Lanka's commitment to deliver on its holistic growth investment proposition. The forum is only the beginning of what we envisage to be an ongoing platform for the seeding of investment partnership, a platform which enables the lighting up of multifaceted growth pathways which are mutually reinforcing and mutually rewarding for all participants in Sri Lanka's decade of growth. I wish you all good health and a rewarding and fruitful engagement at the Sri Lanka Investment Forum 2020.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your very inspiring address and the confidence you have given to the investor community with your elaborate and emboldened plans for the nation. To complete the inauguration session and set the stage for our plenary sessions at this investment forum, who better to have address us than the State Minister of Money and Capital Markets and State Enterprise Reforms. Please welcome the Honorable Nivad Kabra.
His Excellency the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Honorable Mahinda Rajapaksa, the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, the Chairman of the Sri Lanka's Chamber of Commerce, Hans Vijay Surya, and my dear friends. It's a pleasure to be here this morning to share a few thoughts with you as you kick off the virtual conference on Invest Sri Lanka, Asia's next growth haven. You are marketing it as Sri Lanka's FDI and capital market showcase. I think that's an apt way of marketing it as well as reflecting it to the world. And I'm particularly pleased to be able to share a few thoughts at the time that you are doing so. Someone might say this is the worst time that you could concentrate on an investment promotion conference. Those who generally see half full glasses will say it's the worst time. They'll say, what on earth are you thinking of doing and inviting people to invest at a time when there is a lockdown, at a time when there are deteriorating macro fundamentals all over the world, at a time when there are challenging global conditions, which makes it impossible for people to travel about. Tourism is at a standstill. At a time when the outcomes are unclear. We don't know when these things will change. At every time we have optimistic thoughts, but after some time again it bounces back into pessimistic thoughts. We have weak external accounts all over the world. So at that time, are we doing the right thing by talking about investment? But if you are really a savvy investor, I think you would look at the underlying factors at any time when we are talking about investment. Not only what is there on the surface, not just the torrential rain, but the richness of the soil is what you must be looking at. Not only the deafening noise, but the true melody that there is in the song. Not only the beauty, but also the durability. Can we sustain it? Can this be continuing? Not only what has been done, but what can be done. Where can we go? What is the potential? Now, these are all matters that I think savvy investors look at, and that's where this particular conference I think is going to score, because you would be reflecting not only on what is there on the surface, what we can see out there, but what is the deep meaning, what is the thrust that is available, which we should be concentrating upon. So let's dig a little deep. Let's drill down a little further. Let's examine the richness of the soil. Let's listen to the melody. Let's understand the durability. Let's analyze as to what can be done. And then if you do that, I would say you would see Sri Lanka's awesome potential. This was thought about some time ago. I remember when Ruchir Sharma wrote in his book, Breakout Nations, he had an entire chapter devoted for Sri Lanka in 2013 and 2014. We had potential. He talked about what can be done. He of course talked about the challenges as well as the dangers and the areas that we should be cautious about. But at the same time, if those are got right, the awesome potential that this country has and what it can do to investors was not lost on people like that who dug deep into Sri Lanka's context. So let's look at the glass as being half full. And I would like to talk about underlying valuations, underlying infrastructural programs that we have, the social development areas that Sri Lanka is talking about. I'm sure in the next few days, all of you will be reflecting on those areas, and I think there will be people who will talk about it at length, and therefore I don't want to talk about those in detail. But I would like to preface by saying one thing, that Sri Lanka's infrastructure development program started in 2006 during the time of Honorable Mahinda Rajapaksa being the president at that time. And at that time, we started it while the war was going on. People asked us, are you mad to be doing these things? But in times of war, you need to prepare for peace. In times of peace, you will prepare for war. But in times of war, you got to prepare for peace. So at that time, we started on all the development projects. We started on the Hambantota port. We started on the Norachole power plant. We started on the infrastructure of the new highways. We started on the airport. We started on all those projects before the war was over. So that when the war was over, we had the canvas to go fast and forward. That's why Sri Lanka had 8% growth. It didn't happen automatically. It didn't suddenly fall down from heaven. It was through careful planning, careful strategies that were implemented that Sri Lanka was able to have that growth momentum during that period. So let's see what we can do again. I'll start with the capital markets. I have some responsibility for the capital markets, being the state minister who is responsible for that. Way back in 2014, Sri Lanka's market cap was $24.4 billion. Today, it's only $14.5 billion. There is a drop of $10 billion during the period of the last 7 years. But what does that tell you? That tells you that there is awesome potential, awesome value that is within the stock exchange companies that are listed. It is there with other companies as well. But those who come at this time and take up positions at this time will definitely benefit by that. And that's what this is all about. So invest at the right time. If you do invest at the right time, there is tremendous potential for you to realize your own investments at a very high level. Take the debt markets. In 2014, in Sri Lanka's government debt, there was as much as $3.4 billion invested. Today we have opened it out again. Today we are saying, come and invest in the government bonds. We'll give you even a guarantee on the exchange rate so that if there is a risk, that risk is also mitigated. So there is a huge opportunity there as well. Sri Lanka has never defaulted. Sri Lanka is making sure that everything goes in the right way to ensure that we can make ends meet and to see that that is done. And I can assure you that as well. There's opportunities for private equity. There are so many companies that have gaps in their investment levels, gaps in their capital that can be filled. So those can be also looked at by all the investors who are coming to Sri Lanka. The FDI opportunities are also very, very significant. There's a Hambantota industrial zone. I'm sure there will be topics that will be talked about today. There will be the farmer zone. There's the port-related activities. The Colombo Port City. We have just opened out with the law, and the law has been just enacted by Parliament. So there is investment opportunities in the port city. The IT sector, we have embraced 5G. Education, health, and commercial sectors are also available. Power and energy, hospitality and leisure, infrastructure development. These are all areas that Sri Lanka could have foreign direct investment coming in. And the laws that Sri Lanka has already promulgated will provide the space for those investments to come in and to be taken up by investors from all over the world. Just because there is COVID, just because there is a challenge at hand, we don't forget about our direction and our vision. If you have a son and you want to make him an engineer, or you have a daughter whom you want to make a doctor, because she falls ill for 3 days, you don't give up the idea. The same way, in a country, if you have challenges, you will meet those challenges, but at the same time, your overall vision and your goal must be looked at. So what will the government do? The government has a lot of things to do. It will improve the macro fundamentals. We are working hard at that. We are looking at non-debt inflows, and we'll work on that in the next few years as well. We will look at the improving of the doing business indicators. I think there's a session on that, and my ministry is also working on that in all the aspects of doing business, from starting a business to dealing with construction permits, getting electricity, registering a property, paying taxes, trading across borders, enforcing contracts, resolving insolvency, and all that. And at the same time, we'll provide incentives. We know investors want incentives. Yes, we will provide that. We will provide a sustainable framework. That's why the laws have to be there. We have to provide the enabling legislation. We will provide the policy consistency. Even in the midst of COVID, we didn't change our policies. We allowed the tax policies that we have introduced to continue. We didn't change those. We will ensure social harmony. That's why some very ambitious projects like Water for All it will cost us quite a bit of money, but we want to see that every single person in Sri Lanka has the basic necessities. We will also ensure that there is a human-elephant conflict as well as 100,000 kilometers of roads. Those are all done in order to ensure that Sri Lanka can go forward with a lot of interest in the future. So we would ask you to also take a few steps. Think long term. Back yourselves. Help to maintain the macro fundamentals. Forge partnerships between yourselves and foreign investors. Build spaces and reserves in your own companies. And then you would find that you would have the necessary ability to go forward with Sri Lanka. I would like to end by reminding you of a little film that I saw, The Life of Pi. Life of Pi, there was a shipwreck. He got into this boat, and then in the boat, he had to go through that journey with Richard Parker, which was the Bengali tiger. But he went through that. And that's sometimes the challenge that we have. Sometimes we have challenges. We have big challenges, but we have to go through those challenges in order to realize our dreams and our goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay Surya. Ladies and gentlemen, Sri Lanka means business. And so the inauguration address at this forum will be presented by no less than His Excellency, the President of our Republic. who will share with you, the investor community, and present from the very apex his vision for the nation. To inaugurate the Sri Lanka Investment Forum 2021, we are deeply honored to present and welcome the President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
Ayubowan. Honorable Mahinda Rajapaksa, Prime Minister, Honorable Ministers, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, Co-Chairs of Sri Lanka Investment Forum, foreign and Sri Lankan delegates, friends. It gives me great pleasure to address you at the inaugural session of the Sri Lanka Investment Forum 2021. This event takes a holistic view of the many and varied investment opportunities Sri Lanka offers across all sectors of its economy. It brings together the Board of Investment, Colombo Stock Exchange, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, alongside key policymakers, entrepreneurs, and business leaders. This will encourage robust dialogue and information sharing about our investment environment, and it will highlight opportunities for direct investments as well as opportunities in capital markets and debt markets. This investment forum comes at an important time for Sri Lanka. My government has ambitious plans to unleash a decade of transformational and rapid economic growth to double our national output from its current level to $8,000 GDP per capita by 2030. Our unique geostrategic position, political stability, robust institutions and social infrastructure, educated and capable workforce, and high quality of life are some of Sri Lanka's current strengths. We will leverage on these to set the platform for our growth target. In addition, significant improvements to our infrastructure are continually being made. These include increasing power generation from renewable sources, improving connectivity through upgrading of road and rail networks, and further expansion and improvements to our ports that will all facilitate our development drive. We are deeply committed to maintaining policy stability and consistency within a stable macroeconomic environment. Our legal and regulatory frameworks are being refined to ensure greater responsiveness, transparency, and security for investors. Unnecessary bureaucratic red tape is being removed and procedures are being streamlined to ensure greater ease of doing business. As President of Sri Lanka, I am determined to see these changes through and to further improve our already welcoming environment for investment. There are significant opportunities across many economic sectors in Sri Lanka that can provide tremendous returns to foreign and local investors alike. With its geostrategic location only a few hours away by air from major global hubs, Sri Lanka is one of the best connected nations in all of South Asia. The commercial capital Colombo is one of the most attractive and livable cities in the region. The many opportunities this city affords will soon be greatly enhanced by the Colombo Port City, a new cityscape that will feature world-class residential, commercial, social, and entertainment facilities. Our vision to make the port city a key service hub for one of the fastest growing regions in the world. Its residents will have all the facilities they need to do productive work while enjoying a very high quality of life in a vibrant tropical beachside environment that fuses the best of both an old and new. Special legislation has already been passed to ensure special incentives and exemptions for businesses that can have a broad economic impact. We encourage business leaders from all nations to make full use of the unique strengths and many opportunities that the port city affords by investing here. For centuries, Sri Lanka has been a hub that connected the East and the West. With its world-class port infrastructure in Colombo and in Hambantota, the country is capable of providing services even to the largest container ships that traverse the busy Indian Ocean. The country is therefore well positioned to be a transshipment and logistics hub for the region, and we strongly encourage investments in this area. Legacy legislation and regulations that impede such investments are in the process of being revisited and revised to facilitate this. With its very fertile environment and deep history of cultivation, Sri Lanka has a rich agrarian heritage spanning thousands of years. With climate change becoming an increasing threat to food security the world over, we seek to combine this rich heritage with new technological advances to dramatically and sustainably enhance our agricultural output. My government has taken a strong policy stance in support of healthy organic agriculture. I am confident that in the future, Sri Lanka can supply high quality agricultural produce to health conscious, demanding consumers in the region. Many opportunities for investment will be created in this context. Given our national commitment to further enhancing our forest cover, the productivity of our agriculture base must improve without further increasing land use. We therefore welcome investments into new technologies and farming practices that can increase yields in organic, healthy, and sustainable ways. We also seek improvements to our animal husbandry and fisheries sectors that can sustainably increase their productivity. Investments into value-adding businesses that can increase the export potential of our agricultural produce as well as our traditional export crops such as tea, rubber, and coconut are strongly encouraged. As Sri Lanka seeks to expand its industrial base, one of the most significant requirements will be increased power generation. My government is committed to reducing the use of fossil fuels and ensuring that clean, renewable sources of energy contribute 70% of our national power requirements by 2030. We therefore invite investments into large-scale solar and wind power projects that can sustainably augment our power supply and set the platform for further industrialization and economic growth. Sri Lanka has vast resources of raw materials that are used in several high-tech industries. We are keen to encourage investments into manufacturing industries that will add value to these resources and set the country on the path towards becoming a manufacturer of electronic components for the global market in the future. The information technology sector in Sri Lanka is especially robust. We have several companies that have made their mark internationally, and high-quality educational institutions produce many skilled workers in this field each year. Our ongoing educational reforms will further enhance the quality and size of our IT workforce in the future. The government is taking other proactive steps in addition to such talent development. This includes building new infrastructure, including IT parks, and enacting supportive policy mechanisms, including a zero-tax policy for tech companies headquartered in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's geographic proximity to major undersea cables that transmit millions of terabytes of data make it an attractive destination for data centers and other operations that serve the information requirements of the region. This potential is being further strengthened with new legislation on personal data protection that is being formulated to bring the country's legal and regulatory environment in line with global standards. Sri Lanka has long been favored as a destination for tourists from all over the world. Even though it has been severely impacted by the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Sri Lanka is seeking to revitalize its vibrant tourism industry to take advantage of the likely post-pandemic travel boom. Investments are therefore welcome into hotels, resorts, entertainment facilities, and novel tourism projects that will attract high-spending tourists into the country. With its robust public healthcare system, augmented by globally accredited private hospitals and world-class, highly qualified and experienced medical professionals, Sri Lanka is also well placed to benefit from the growing global medical tourism industry. Investments into medical tourism projects are therefore encouraged, as are wellness tourism projects that will leverage our rich heritage of mindfulness, holistic healthcare, and our Ayurvedic tradition. With its many attractions, sound infrastructure, high quality of life, and its dynamic, educated, and intelligent youth, Sri Lanka can also be a viable destination for leading universities to set up campuses that attract students from around the region. My government is prepared to proactively support such investments, just as it will truly transformative investments into the many other sectors I have discussed in this address. During the course of these 3 days, participants at this event will be able to study these and the many other opportunities Sri Lanka affords in detail. Equally importantly, you will be able to connect directly with policymakers at the highest level, as well as technical experts, project owners, and potential partners who can support your investment ambitions in Sri Lanka. The government of Sri Lanka is proactive and pro-businesses. We will look very favorably upon investments that can have a transformative impact on our economy as well as our national profile. And we will do our utmost to create an enabling environment for the success of such investments. We now stand amidst a national transformation process that will not only uplift Sri Lanka, but have a positive impact on the entire region while creating tremendous value for investors across multiple sectors and through diverse instruments. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to join us on this transformational journey by investing in Sri Lanka. I hereby inaugurate this landmark investment forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your address. We progress to the first plenary session of the day, where we explore the national policy framework in Sri Lanka. Please welcome Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, the Secretary to the President, who will provide us with an overview of the policy framework in Sri Lanka.
Ayubowan, let me first wish all of you a very productive day with us. I'm extremely pleased to address Sri Lanka Investment Forum 2021 soon after His Excellency the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Honorable Minister of State Enterprise and Capital Market address you. I'm also very grateful and pleased to see that this forum is organized by the Board of Investment, Colombo Stock Exchange and Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. I thank for taking this collaborative effort by both the government and private sector and inviting me to deliver the keynote address on National Policy Framework of Sri Lanka. The past 18 months have seen that the entire world is struggling against COVID-19 virus, the most serious pandemic that brought the working of the global connectivity to a halt. It has taken nearly 4 million lives, while nearly 2 million have been identified as infected people. These numbers may be more. The well-renowned scientists took almost a year to discover a vaccine, while governments, medical professions, public service, security forces were managing the adverse impact through a variety of methods. Now, the vaccine manufacturers are struggling to increase production and distribution, while the whole world is hungry for having the vaccine, reflecting the desire to see post-COVID-19 recovery on natural life and business. I'm sure it is that desire Sri Lanka Investment Forum stands for. The past 18 months, all of us have seen global community which advanced steadily for nearly half a century suddenly got disconnected and are isolated from one another. It was costly. The world economy contracted by 3.3% in 2020, with advanced economies contracting by 4.7%. The emerging and developing Asia contracted by 1%, thanks to China holding its resilience and achieving 2.5% growth. India, South Asian economic powerhouse, suffered a 8% contraction in GDP. The COVID-19 hit Sri Lanka at a time the whole nation was placing their trust and confidence in President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who knew he was taking over a badly run-down economy, institutions and governance. The 5-year period before he took over in 2019 was not a reflection of a sustained achievement of post-conflict economic and social aspiration. Economic growth was systematically declining from 5% in 2015 to 2.3% in 2019. You can recall that Sri Lanka maintained 5 to 5.5% growth even during 30-year conflict period and seen 7 to 8% growth after the conflict, showing countries' growth potentials and resilience. By 2019, Sri Lanka also saw a low external reserve position against structurally high trade deficit running on average $10 billion per annum and a high exposure to capital account transaction, including external debt servicing, dividend and interest payment. On top of this, has seen with loan-funded public investment projects which were having high cost and long gestation period. The government of President Rajapaksa also knew it has inherited various finance, fiscal operations, high and complex tax systems, as well as double-digit interest rate, all were not conducive for investment and growth-friendly environment. The tourism, which grew so rapidly after conflict ended, was also hit by Easter Sunday attack, and the country began to appreciate the value of security to prevent such risks thereafter. This industry was earning $4.2 billion prior to its employing nearly 3 million people and making Sri Lanka as a promising tourist destination that can easily generate $10 billion. COVID did not allow this potential to exploit. The already weak economy hit by COVID made 4% economic contraction in Sri Lanka in 2020. Although the government introduced sweeping tax reforms, public expenditure management reforms, public investment strategies reforms in state enterprise managements, the benefits of such initiatives have been overshadowed by COVID pandemic and increased public health expenditure. The government's fiscal reform places high priority in reducing fiscal deficit from 10% of GDP in 2020 to below 4.5% by 2025, while reducing debt to GDP below 75%, largely through the reduction in external project loans to reduce external debt exposure. The country's external account is the center of this transformation. As we all may agree, the country's present level of exports of around $10 billion is inadequate for at least for 3 reasons. First, it is not diversified. Second, it depends on imports and less on domestic value addition. And last but not least, it is grossly inadequate to meet $20 billion imports. No economy of our scale can sustain $10 billion per annum trade. deficit. The national plan to address this imbalance is to raise export earning to $15 billion by 2024 and to $20 billion by 2028 through a diversified industrial and agro-processing industrial activities. As you may be aware, 70% of Sri Lanka's industrial export take place through BOI approved investment. Currently they operate below capacity, and the young and charismatic BOI chairman and board of directors have been assigned the task of raising BOI-centric industrial export rapidly in the next 2 to 3 years. This year alone, despite all disturbances, the Board of Investment, Export Development Board and the plantation industry have been given a target of $12 billion. It is encouraging that the performance of past 5 months and the prospect for the next 6 months to realize this goal, and we are willing to sit with anyone to address their individual problems to see this target is a reality. As you know, given our challenges, government was compelled to restrict imports. It has declined to $16 billion now, but gradually country need to relax to realize around $22 billion in 2024-2025 when Sri Lanka sees exports of near $20 billion. The shift towards food security centric production, renewable energy, pharmaceutical, fabric manufacturing, all are well in line with presidential initiative on climate resilience and green economy is the major structural reform in this area, which I will explain. Distinguished participants, the strength and resilience in Sri Lankan economy and its people lies with a well broad-based business community. Micro, small, medium to large in terms of scale, or domestic and foreign in terms of ownership, Sri Lanka has a rich portfolio of business community. Sri Lanka is pleased that no foreign investor entered into Sri Lanka has left the country or abandoned their business, whatever difficult circumstances they have gone through here. They are from all over the world, and Sri Lanka is admiring such investment community. Sri Lanka is rich with its domestic business community who have demonstrated their resilience and capacity to be global. After all, out of 25 to 30% of total investment GDP ratio in this country, 23% is from domestic business community. Sri Lanka is equally rich in terms of having a well-literate labor force capable of working in any global business operating in Sri Lanka or overseas destination. Apparel industry, the country's largest manufacturing industry, is well aware how adaptable our young workforce in their factory environment. I regret that organized large plantation companies have not seen what a difference labor force can do in plantation, yet a smallholder plantation has proceeded how well plantation economy can move from primary economic activity to processing and manufacturing. The government is planning a major restructuring in the plantation sector, particularly with the emphasis on the large plantation companies to put the unutilized land into productive use in near future. Sri Lanka earns US $7.1 billion in 2020 from overseas employment, despite government brought back about 100,000 people living in safe houses in overseas. The aim of the government is to secure well-paid overseas jobs for Sri Lankans in various skills to provide better livelihood openings as well as country to benefit from such inflows. The national plan of the government has targeted US $10 billion of such inflows by 2023-2024. Sri Lanka has also proved beyond doubt its political stability with matured democracy, legal, judicial system and parliamentary democracy. Friends, these are some of our upside to give you confidence in our economy and people. However, there are downsides as well. First, long overdue reforms which have placed us in the 90th position in doing business index, which is not worthy of talking. Sri Lanka must aim at least among top 10 to 25 in the country ranking for doing business index. The other is the critical infrastructure gaps and cost of electricity. We cannot be complacent of our communication of projecting country advantage either. Both private sector and public sector are not well organized in this area, and this investor forum is certainly a step in the right direction. National development goals and strategies of the government of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, which understand the aspiration of the people and the potentials of this country, has been set up having studied multifaceted strength and weakness that government has to give careful thoughts. As you are aware, Sri Lanka, like many other nations, have been performing under restrictive conditions to manage COVID-19 pandemic. It has not been ideal condition for business and public movements. The aspects of health of the people, economy and national security are interwoven, and government has given highest consideration to manage all three to the best interest of Sri Lankan people and the global community. It has not been ideal condition for business and public investment. However, the government has been busy getting ready for post-COVID-19 rapid social economic recovery within the overall policy framework of Vistas of Prosperity, the mandate of this government. Let me outline those initiatives for your benefit. First, the government concluded direct investment in excess of US $700 million BOT project for a 35-year operation with India's largest port and logistic investor company, Adani Group, with partnership in John Keel's, Sri Lanka's largest blue chip company, to expand Colombo Port West Terminal. Sri Lanka Port Authority is also committed to develop East Container Terminal so that over the next 2 to 3 years, Colombo Port capacity will be expanded to handle transshipment cargo significantly. The next landmark investment is a 15-year FDI on elevated expressway from Kalani Bridge to Athurugiri with US $800 million by China Harbour Engineering Corporation. Both these investments are major shift from loan-funded government projects earlier designed for a foreign-funded investment projects. Government has also introduced a new legislation to establish Colombo Port City Economic Commission to capitalize its strategic position to provide global services to emerging global business between the West and East, putting Sri Lanka as a gateway to Asia. The Commission has been appointed with the eminent people. 7-member Commission will be working soon to address how the Port City Economic Commission will be operationalized. It is a legislation that was well endorsed by the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka and passed by Parliament with resounding majority, reflecting all executive, all rally around the executive to make it a service center opening for the Asian landmark change. The government has already given clearance to build financial center supported with other service facilities. The anticipated investment on already developed land and related infrastructure with $1.5 billion for indirect investment, expect further $20 billion on the development of international convention facilities, hospitals, schools, recreation and residential facilities, and places for regional headquarters over the next 5 to 7 years being a construction pace, all attracting diverse skills and interests. Colombo city itself is ready to accommodate the transitional demand with nearly 10,000 luxury apartments ready for such initial occupation. I am also pleased to announce that the public investment to fill gaps in expressway network have been accelerated. The government expects that Port Expressway to be ready by this time next year. The elevated expressway is also expected to be ready before end of 2023 to provide easy access to ports and airports in Colombo and Hambantota, one major economic corridor to see increase exports, tourism, financial and logistics services. Domestic construction companies have been assigned the task of constructing expressway to north, east and hill country destination. Parallel with these initiatives, public investment supported by the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, several other funding agencies have been accelerated in irrigation, water and road development island-wide over the next 3 to 5 years. The shift towards use of renewable energy sources comprising solar, wind, hydro power generation has gained momentum. Along with this, clean energy use to reduce fossil fuel has been undertaken with foreign investment in LNG-fired electricity system has become a priority. The international tender, which has been floated 3 months ago, is about to close and the selection process will commence soon. As I mentioned before, considering country's agricultural and water resources, government has given highest priority for food production, agriculture, livestock, fisheries and agro-based industries to provide food security as well as to replace import of food, vegetable, dairy, meat, eggs as well as sugar-based industries. Toward this, Board of Investment has been tasked to focus on a diversified industrial exports. Export Development Board has been tasked to concentrate on SME-centric exports. Mahavali Development Authority, which commands land and water to concentrate on commercial agriculture. Urban Development Authority has been tasked to simplify their approval process and drive the transformation of urban landscape, middle and low income housing and property development. Friends, as I mentioned earlier, this requires considerable effort in implementing far-reaching yet long overdue policy and institutional reform. Presidential task force headed by a Supreme Court judge is given the task to reforming port and custom procedures and logistics. A separate presidential task force jointly headed by former Secretary to the President and head of the John Cales, together with several private sector leaders, have been assigned to simplify regulatory framework to ease doing business and make system work efficiently. Education Task Force has already commenced the implementation of education reforms to develop skills required for the emerging economy. Presidential Commission on Financial Irregularities has recommended series of reforms in our finance company and regulatory system. Legal reforms headed by Honorable Minister of Justice to address civil, criminal and commercial laws to prevent law delays, commercial dispute resolution mechanism, etc. A series of new laws and amendments to existing legislations are now being in the process to submit to Parliament for approval. The pension reforms, together with the extension of retirement age, are being legislated and hopefully will be presented to the Parliament in due course to increase savings of our people as well as their productive work life. Steps have also been taken to streamline the working of company registrar and also to formulate guidelines to accommodate small-time investment in IT and enabling services, research and technology partnership to have easy approval process. State Minister of State Enterprises and Capital Market Development and former Governor of the Central Bank is steering the financial sector and capital market reform. There are also initiatives to amend the banking regulations and foreign exchange management regulations to enable Sri Lanka's banking system to enter into sovereign bond market and deepen the secondary market along with the international banks. The government's national plan placed significant interest in the development of international services. As you probably know, Sri Lanka's external service account has generally been in surplus position with 2018 recording US $3.7 billion surplus. This was largely due to booming travel and tourism activities prior to Easter Sunday attack and COVID-19 pandemic. The comfort zone may come in favor of us when vaccination and other health regulations provide space. In the meantime, two other sources, namely port and telecommunication services, have gained growth momentum. In accordance with the National Development Policy Framework 2021-2023 medium-term national budget has permitted setting up 5 techno parks and vocational educational institutions with the setting up of city universities. Along with those universities are to increase IT, business and engineering related skill development. The government will set up 5 techno parks in different locations in Sri Lanka, well connected to expressway network, hotels and logistic areas, and easy access to the skilled workforce to increase IT-based operation on plug-and-play concept. The construction of these 5 parks will commence before in July. Sri Lanka's tax legislation also provides complete tax-free status to these services and incentive to start up business, including small-time investors. Telecommunication Regulatory Authority is in the process of providing broadband access across the country to improve online service delivery, including education, health, bank, taxation and real-time transactions. Slascom expects a US $1.7 billion export earnings in 2021 and drive this industry to beyond US $5 billion by 2024. In this background, external service account is expected to be US $7 billion surplus position as against the current depressed level of US $1 billion. This together with net remittance inflows providing a US $10 billion, Sri Lanka is expected to strengthen its balance of payments and protect our debt service, dividend payments and interest payment to foreign investors. The restructuring the national balance sheet to provide space for states as well as for the private sector to direct their savings and investment is a key policy goal. In 2020, Sri Lanka's external government debt was reduced by US $4 billion to US $30.2 billion for all bilateral and sovereign bond market. Central Bank of Sri Lanka data also confirmed that external debt of the banking sector has been reduced to US $6.7 billion from US $7.4 billion in 2018. Consequently, country's external debt has been reduced from US $54.8 billion to US $49.2 billion, despite our stress official reserve currently remain at around US $4 billion. Within another 30 days, government will honor a further US $1 billion bullet payments to our sovereign bond holders, reassuring that Sri Lanka will never default its debt. Swap arrangement between central bank and other central banks are being worked out, and government will provide us space to finance trade among such countries to deepen exports and trade. Last but not least is the presidential initiative to launch climate resilience and green economy development strategy to place country on a new environment-friendly setting for development. This front-loaded initiative is to move away from chemical fertilizer to organic in agriculture, reduce reliance on fossil fuel and increase the reliance on clean energy and renewable energy sources, adopt recycling business model to convert waste to raw material, protect wildlife areas and restore elephant corridors, increase forest density and tap new market for new funding sources for green technology. This is vast area of new investment opportunities. The World Bank is heavily involved in Surakumu Ganga program, a nationwide initiative to protect river basins and clean 103 rivers. Several development partners are embracing this initiative. The Asian Development Bank will have its annual meeting in Sri Lanka next year this time, providing all of you to participate to discover further progress in Sri Lanka in this national policy framework environment. Let me sum up. Sri Lanka is ready to regain the growth momentum it lost since 2015. Our target per capita income is US $10,000 in next 5 to 7 years as opposed to present level of US $4,000. This will be driven by structural changes in exports and imports of goods and services to make it much more diversified and inclusive. On average, our growth target in GDP is in excess of 6%, with price inflation is maintained at a mid-single digit level. Volatility in exchange rate will be short-lived phenomena, and we expect our bank to give up short-term speculative behavior. The macroeconomic monetary policy strategy is to build countries' external reserve through the transformation of countries' external current account to generate a surplus and not through raising debt as has been the past practice of several years. This is why the government is placing trust in diversified exports of goods and services and reduction in import through reliance on viable import substitution like agricultural production, fabric manufacturing, pharmaceutical and vaccine drugs, renewable energy, and high content domestic value creation from foreign investment through technology transfer. The objective is to raise official reserve through such economic activities to around US $8 billion in the medium term, which is well in excess of countries' financial outflows. This is being reinforced in the fiscal adjustment path that will reduce exposure to external loan-funded projects. The fiscal savings by reducing such external debt and stabilizing exchange rate will enable the government to reduce fiscal deficit towards 4% of GDP in addition to raising fiscal revenue based on large taxpayer focus and also with the online taxation technology application. Technology transfer is part of our foreign direct investment drive, while country has been operating on a restructuring mode. The government during last 18 months have been busy getting this nation ready for a major savings and investment mode. The rich business community operating in Sri Lanka active and are enthusiastic. Foreign investors have not faced difficulty in taking their dividend earnings. In 2020 alone, annual dividend taken out is around US $600 million. Your dividend can get tax-free and other benefits while expanding your business in Sri Lanka, including the savings you have could put in sovereign bond market. I invite you to invest with that optimism and commitment from the government. I wish Sri Lanka Investment Forum 2021 a great success. World economy has recovered and Asia is resilient with huge market opportunities. High growth rate for 2021 projected for China and India gives Asia a new hope. Sri Lanka is the destination and gateway to this Asian emerging market and for all local and foreign investors to capitalize this huge opportunity. Thank you very much.
Deploy Dialog Smart Workforce to manage your workforce effectively and efficiently without any hassle. Introducing the IoT Smart Workforce, the all-in-one field service management solution
Powered by Dialog Enterprise.
IoT Smart Workforce drives efficiency for all field teams and verticals, from retail and distribution, utilities and field services, 24/7 roadside assistance, equipment and machinery maintenance, Salesforce automation, disaster management to collection and recovery industries using complete mobile workforce tools.
Contact your account manager or for more information, visit business.dialog.lk. Reach us through 0777 887 887 for further clarification. Dialog Enterprise, taking your enterprise to the future today.
Cloud computing, one of the most game-changing technologies of our time, continues to transform the business landscape by constantly improving how we do business. However, organizations continue to battle with a myriad of issues surrounding cloud connectivity. By joining forces and establishing strategic partnerships with global cloud service providers, now Dialog can establish a dedicated connection to your preferred cloud service provider with Dialog Direct Cloud Connect. Establish a low latency, dedicated, private, secure network connection from your business premises to the world's leading public cloud data centers. With Dialog Direct Cloud Connect, organizations can overcome connectivity issues and experience a true public-private hybrid solution, establish private connections to global cloud platforms, experience increased reliability and speed, along with unified connectivity to all cloud services, as well as low latency and high security. And reduce your costs by taking advantage of lower transfer rates. Built to world-class standards, your enterprise can now experience global connectivity with enhanced security, unparalleled higher performance in a local cloud space, and lower egress costs for customers. Sri Lankan enterprises can now enjoy a superior cloud experience bundled with unmatched multi-cloud offerings and a predictable monthly fee billed in local currency. Plus, the support of highly skilled and trained teams for migrating from existing connectivity to Direct Cloud Connect. Contact your Dialog account manager and explore the cloud journey we are able to design for your business. For more information, visit business.dialog.lk or call 0777 887 887.
Experience the smarter and cost-effective way to manage your fleet with IoT Smart Fleet Solution, powered by Dialog. Get Dialog Smart Fleet to manage your fleet effectively and see the difference never experienced before. Providing solutions for passenger and logistics, asset tracking, supply chain management, rent-a-car services, to food and beverage companies with a GPS-driven automotive tracking system.
Contact your account manager or for more information, visit business.dialog.lk. Reach us through 0777 887 887 for further clarification. Dialog Enterprise, taking your enterprise to the future today.
It's about time you know I'm good and ready. Let the good vibes roll, come on and blow my mind. You ain't gotta wait for it, go ahead, drop the confetti. 3, 2, 1, to the fun, gonna make it mine. Gonna do what it do, what it do.
NDB Investment Bank is Sri Lanka's leading investment bank and innovator of financial products for the country's capital markets. Our unrivaled expertise lies in raising debt and equity capital, having raised over 500 billion to date and carrying out mergers and acquisitions, IPOs and debentures, where we have executed numerous landmark transactions in Sri Lankan capital markets. We are also the first investment bank in Sri Lanka to manage a foreign IPO, the largest equity fundraising in the Maldives to date. And we have also been recognized by Euromoney magazine since 2012 as Sri Lanka's best investment bank for 9 consecutive years and remains the only financial institution to achieve this unique feat. With Sri Lanka being a hub to South Asia, we remain focused on becoming the strongest investment banking group in the region. NDB Investment Bank. Values that add value.
Pioneering foreign investment into Sri Lankan capital markets, we are among Sri Lanka's top-ranked equity houses and leading capital market service providers, being the only Sri Lankan investment bank with an equity investment by a global investment bank, CITIC CLSA. Our reach is global. Under this umbrella, CT CLSA Capital is one of Sri Lanka's leading investment banks, having driven some landmark transactions on the Colombo Stock Exchange. Our stockbroking arm, CT CLSA Securities, is a leading institutional broker, generating high foreign turnover on the Colombo Bourse. Consistently ranked among the top brokers in total turnover and combining an unparalleled global network, incomparable market knowledge and expansive corporate access. And Comtrust, a pioneer unit trust company, is a preferred and most trusted wealth management company in Sri Lanka. We are CT CLSA. Commitment, trust, continuity.
Providing the professional thinking behind your money. Being a fully owned subsidiary of the renowned National Savings Bank of Sri Lanka, NSB Fund Management Company Limited is a dedicated primary dealer. Appointed by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, it was first incorporated on the 16th of November 1999. One of its primary purposes being that of providing the people of our country with professional thinking behind their funds. The NSB Fund Management adopted various functions to better assist and manage the funds of its clients effectively and efficiently. Our strengths. Through the adoption of these various functions and its professional experience of 21 years, NSB Fund Management Company Limited has grown as the most reliable intermediate entity in the government securities market in Sri Lanka. NSB Fund Management Company Limited.
We are delighted to now feature our first foreign testimonial speaker, Dato Izzadin Idris, Managing Director, President and Group Chief Executive Officer of Axiata Group Berhad, Malaysia, who will share the Axiata Group experience on 25 years in Sri Lanka, the story behind a multi-billion-dollar investment.
Hi and a very good morning. First and foremost, I would like to extend my gratitude to the organizing committee, which is the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka and the Colombo Stock Exchange for inviting Axiata to speak on this platform. It is our privilege to deliver this keynote investor testimonial at this prestigious forum. 2021 has been a milestone in the history of the Axiata Group as we mark 25 years of successful operations in Sri Lanka through our subsidiary Dialog Axiata PLC. Over the past 25 years, Axiata has invested a sum of $2.8 billion in Sri Lanka. And today, we are proud that we are the largest foreign direct investor in the country, contributing approximately 0.8% of the GDP. Axiata, as you may know, is a leading regional telecommunications group with a footprint covering 11 countries across South and Southeast Asia. Today, our diverse talent base of more than 12,000 employees across the region services the need of more than 150 million customers. In 2020, the group generated over 24.3 billion in revenue. That's about $6 billion and over 600 million ringgit in profits, despite the challenges from COVID-19. Axiata today is a diverse and resilient business with a strong foothold in 3 distinct business segments, namely digital telcos, digital businesses, and infrastructure. Anticipating the evolving needs of our stakeholders and guided by our purpose of advancing Asia, we are striving towards the creation of a sustainable digital ecosystem across our footprint to benefit consumers, businesses, societies, as well as the talents that we employ. In our opinion, Dialog is a crown jewel in the Axiata portfolio, and it has been one of our group's most successful investments. If you allow me to trace the history of Dialog, it began its journey in 1995 as the fourth entrant to the Sri Lankan mobile market, powered by support from Axiata and strengthened by the Sri Lankan talents with a clear vision of providing cutting-edge yet affordable connectivity to all Sri Lankans. Within a short span of 5 years, Dialog recorded a meteoric rise from 4th place to the 1st and has since become the undisputed leader in Sri Lanka's mobile telephony industry with a current market share of just under 50%. This is a clear example of the opportunities available in Sri Lanka to foreign investors who believe in the Sri Lanka story and are willing to invest in the country with a focus of capturing long-term value. Today, Dialog is the largest converged communications partner to Sri Lankan homes and enterprises with its aggressive expansion into fixed broadband and dialogue media while serving over 16 million mobile subscribers. Dialog has also ventured into new digital frontiers, namely digital finance, digital health, digital education, and commerce, laying the platform for a digitally inclusive Sri Lanka. We are proud to note that we have helped propel Sri Lanka's telecommunications infrastructure to a level of advancements on par with many developed nations. As a case in point, Sri Lanka is currently ranked among the top 10 countries in the entire world in terms of broadband affordability, a significant achievement for the nation. Our efforts in this regard have been duly recognized by our consumers. You may know that Dialog was recognized as the telecommunications brand for the year for a record 10th year at the SLIM People's Award 2021, and we were also recognized as Sri Lanka's most valuable brand for the 3rd consecutive year in the Brand Finance League table. Further, Dialog has the distinction of being awarded 6 Global Mobile Awards at the Mobile World Congress. In terms of financial performance, Dialog has been an epitome of a solid investment. Over the past 5 years, Dialog delivered top-line CAGR in excess of 10%, and in financial year 2020, the company recorded 120 billion Sri Lankan rupees in revenue and an EBITDA margin of 40%, thus delivering a return of 12.6% to our investors. In fact, Dialog has generated over 100 billion rupees of profit since inception, and in keeping with Axiata's commitment to the country, we have only repatriated 42 billion of this profit as dividends, with the remaining being reinvested in the nation. In 2005, Dialog was listed and was the largest IPO on the Sri Lankan capital markets, with the offer being oversubscribed 3 times within an hour of opening and raising 8.6 billion rupees in fresh capital for the company. Today, we are proud to recognize Dialog as the 4th largest company in terms of market capitalization on the Colombo Stock Exchange, contributing to over 3% of the total market capitalization. Our unwavering commitment to Sri Lanka stems from our firm belief in the immense long-term economic and human capital potential of the country, as well as the significant support provided by the government of Sri Lanka, the Board of Investment, the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the Central Bank, and other authorities. Over the past 25 years, we have experienced unparalleled policy consistency in Sri Lanka. These consistent and progressive policies, combined with Sri Lanka's strengths such as strong democratic form of governance and an independent judicial framework, have played a significant role in our continued investment in the country. It is pertinent to highlight this point that we operate in a sector with a large state-controlled operator. However, the regulatory authority has always ensured a level playing field, which speaks volumes to Sri Lanka's investor-friendly policies. Our commitment to Sri Lanka extends beyond simply providing telecommunications infrastructure and goes to the extent of ensuring long-term sustainability of the country and its people. Staying true to our ethos of being a responsible corporate citizen, Dialog has invested over 6.6 billion rupees in education, sports, health and other CSR projects over the past 10 years. Today, Nanasa TV offers digital education in collaboration with the Ministry of Education to over 2,000 marginalized schools and over 1.8 million students, while the Nanasa Smart Schools teacher training program has helped train over 3,000 teachers, directly impacting 50,000 students across the country. We have offered Dialog Merit Scholarships to over 1,000 school children since 2003. As another example of our commitment to the community, we have established an audiology center in collaboration with the Ceylon School of Deaf with the goal of creating a center of excellence in hearing and speech therapy. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the group made significant contributions to uplift critical health infrastructure, including ICU beds, and donated 4,000 robotic arm compatible test kits that enabled high-speed PCR testing at the Bandaranaike International Airport. Over the past 10 years, Dialog has also contributed over 275 billion rupees to the government of Sri Lanka as taxes, levies and fees, and over 200 billion rupees to dealers, contractors and various partners in the country. Today, we are proud that we provide employment to approximately 4,000 Sri Lankans with a total investment of over 77 billion rupees on direct staff costs over the past 10 years. At Axiata, we recognize the immense talent prevalent in Sri Lanka, and while continuing to invest in shaping the future business leaders of the country, we have also elevated many Sri Lankans to key positions across the group over the past years. In fact, Dr. Hans Wijaya Surya, the former CEO of Dialog, currently heads Axiata's group telecommunications business, overseeing all the digital telco subsidiaries of Axiata Group. Similarly, there are several Sri Lankans holding leadership positions across multiple Axiata subsidiaries. With over 92% literacy rate, the potential of Sri Lankan talent is indeed a blessing to any corporate, especially Axiata. At Axiata, we consider Sri Lanka to be one of our key innovation hubs. Staying true to its tagline of the future today, Dialog has achieved many firsts in the entire South Asian region, including rolling out South Asia's first GSM network, as well as being the first operator to launch 2G, 3G, 4G, 4.5G, and indeed the first to trial 5G technology in the region. In fact, today, Dialog has moved from innovation to ingenuity, with Sri Lankans accounting for over 30% of the employees of Axiata Digital Labs, which is Axiata's Center of Excellence for Software and Analytics. Looking to the future, Axiata remains firmly committed to the Sri Lanka story, and we will continue to invest in the nation's citizens and its infrastructure. In 2020, we committed a further $250 million to further enhance the country's mobile and broadband infrastructure, and we will continue to make such commitments in future as well. Dialog, I'm proud to say, has excelled as one of the most successful subsidiaries in the Axiata Group, and we are excited to see what the future holds for both the company, the entire country, as well as Axiata. Thank you for this opportunity to speak again, and I wish a successful forum in the next few days. Thank you.
Deploy Dialog Smart Workforce to manage your workforce effectively and efficiently without any hassle. Introducing the IoT Smart Workforce, the all-in-one field service management solution
Powered by Dialog Enterprise.
IoT Smart Workforce drives efficiency for all field teams and verticals, from retail and distribution, utilities and field services, 24/7 roadside assistance, equipment and machinery maintenance, Salesforce automation, disaster management to collection and recovery industries using complete mobile workforce tools.
Contact your account manager or for more information, visit business.dialog.lk. Reach us through 0777 887 887 for further clarification. Dialog Enterprise, taking your enterprise to the future today.
Cloud computing, one of the most game-changing technologies of our time, continues to transform the business landscape by constantly improving how we do business. However, organizations continue to battle with a myriad of issues surrounding cloud connectivity. By joining forces and establishing strategic partnerships with global cloud service providers, now Dialog can establish a dedicated connection to your preferred cloud service provider with Dialog Direct Cloud Connect. Establish a low latency, dedicated, private, secure network connection from your business premises to the world's leading public cloud data centers. With Dialog Direct Cloud Connect, organizations can overcome connectivity issues and experience a true public-private hybrid solution, establish private connections to global cloud platforms, experience increased reliability and speed, along with unified connectivity to all cloud services, as well as low latency and high security. And reduce your costs by taking advantage of lower transfer rates. Built to world-class standards, your enterprise can now experience global connectivity with enhanced security, unparalleled higher performance in a local cloud space, and lower egress costs for customers. Sri Lankan enterprises can now enjoy a superior cloud experience bundled with unmatched multi-cloud offerings and a predictable monthly fee billed in local currency. Plus, the support of highly skilled and trained teams for migrating from existing connectivity to Direct Cloud Connect. Contact your Dialog account manager and explore the cloud journey we are able to design for your business. For more information, visit business.dialog.lk or call 0777 887 887.
Experience the smarter and cost-effective way to manage your fleet with IoT Smart Fleet Solution, powered by Dialog. Get Dialog Smart Fleet to manage your fleet effectively and see the difference never experienced before. Providing solutions for passenger and logistics, asset tracking, supply chain management, rent-a-car services, to food and beverage companies with a GPS-driven automotive tracking system.
Contact your account manager or for more information, visit business.dialog.lk. Reach us through 0777 887 887 for further clarification. Dialog Enterprise, taking your enterprise to the future today.
It's about time you know I'm good and ready. Let the good vibes roll, come on and blow my mind. You ain't gotta wait for it, go ahead, drop the confetti. 3, 2, 1, to the fun, gonna make it mine. Gonna do what it do, what it do.
NDB Investment Bank is Sri Lanka's leading investment bank and innovator of financial products for the country's capital markets. Our unrivaled expertise lies in raising debt and equity capital, having raised over 500 billion to date and carrying out mergers and acquisitions, IPOs and debentures, where we have executed numerous landmark transactions in Sri Lankan capital markets. We are also the first investment bank in Sri Lanka to manage a foreign IPO, the largest equity fundraising in the Maldives to date. And we have also been recognized by Euromoney magazine since 2012 as Sri Lanka's best investment bank for 9 consecutive years and remains the only financial institution to achieve this unique feat. With Sri Lanka being a hub to South Asia, we remain focused on becoming the strongest investment banking group in the region. NDB Investment Bank. Values that add value.
Pioneering foreign investment into Sri Lankan capital markets, we are among Sri Lanka's top-ranked equity houses and leading capital market service providers, being the only Sri Lankan investment bank with an equity investment by a global investment bank, CITIC CLSA. Our reach is global. Under this umbrella, CTCLSA Capital is one of Sri Lanka's leading investment banks, having driven some landmark transactions on the Colombo Stock Exchange. Our stockbroking arm, CTCLSA Securities, is a leading institutional broker, generating high foreign turnover on the Colombo Bourse. Consistently ranked among the top brokers in total turnover and combining an unparalleled global network, incomparable market knowledge and expansive corporate access. And Comtrust, a pioneer unit trust company, is a preferred and most trusted wealth management company in Sri Lanka. We are CTCLSA. Commitment, trust, continuity.
Providing the professional thinking behind your money. Being a fully owned subsidiary of the renowned National Savings Bank of Sri Lanka, NSB Fund Management Company Limited is a dedicated primary dealer. Appointed by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, it was first incorporated on the 16th of November 1999. One of its primary purposes being that of providing the people of our country with professional thinking behind their funds. The NSB Fund Management adopted various functions to better assist and manage the funds of its clients effectively and efficiently. Our strengths. Through the adoption of these various functions and its professional experience of 21 years, NSB Fund Management Company Limited has grown as the most reliable intermediate entity in the government securities market in Sri Lanka. NSB Fund Management Company Limited.
Nurturing and growing your wealth is what drives CAL. Because we firmly believe a family business is first and foremost a business family. Our new brand symbol is a representation of this philosophy, a design inspired by the interlaying weave of the nest, a universal symbol of trust, protection, and family. Home to the golden egg that symbolizes wealth and prosperity. A spherical form that represents dynamic movement. With the colors that represent trust, finance, innovation, and evolution. All coming together to embody a unique visual identity, ready to take on a world of endless possibilities.
This is Ceylon, Sri Lanka's first humanoid robot. When its creator IMAC, an emerging global information technology company in Sri Lanka, wanted to spread its wings globally, one investment bank helped them raise strategic growth capital. This is Piramal Glass Ceylon, the dominant glass packaging manufacturer in Sri Lanka. When the leading global private equity firm Blackstone wanted to acquire the publicly traded Piramal, one investment bank helped Blackstone execute the transaction seamlessly. This is private client Mr. De Silva. When he divested his successful Sri Lankan business and wanted to sustain his future goals, this investment bank developed a personalized investment strategy that ensured the returns on his wealth outperformed the market. What's important to you? For many firms, this question is an afterthought. At Asia Securities, it is where our partnership with you begins. Sri Lanka, one of Asia's most vibrant destinations and emerging growth centers, but navigating an emerging market takes a good guide. At Asia Securities, we spend time understanding your needs and offer tailor-made solutions to help you succeed. Backed by a 30-year track record and a globally experienced team, Asia Securities offers a comprehensive suite of financial and investment solutions. In complex financial markets, Deep knowledge and insights are essential to uncovering the story within the story, the hidden risks and the unseen opportunities. At Asia Securities, we bring the best of local and global. While we consistently evolve to meet your changing needs, one thing remains unchanged. Our core values: integrity, insight, and innovation. These values extend beyond just our business and into our community. From our pioneering financial literacy program to our work championing girls' rights through education, we're also investing in the communities that define the future of this nation. A nation where opportunities are endless, where every decision, insight, and connection brings you closer to the success you dream of. Surround yourself with the right investment banking partner in Sri Lanka and put your ambitions in motion.